Have you ever felt your life shift, and yet you weren't the one making it happen? Imagine waking up one morning, the same room, the same bed, the same soft light spilling through the blinds. Everything seems familiar, and yet something hums differently beneath the surface. A woman once woke before her alarm, drawn out of sleep by a subtle pull she couldn't name. She brushed her teeth, made her coffee, checked her calendar, ordinary motions. But the way she moved, the thoughts that arose first, the rhythm of her breath, none of it belonged to the version of her who went to sleep the night before. Something had quietly realigned, unnoticed, without warning. Days slipped by, and suddenly the way life responded to her shifted too. The synchronicities, the people she met, the effortless flow of her day, it all felt rearranged. That is how a quantum jump whispers its presence. Most people assume transformation unfolds slowly, that healing is a patient journey, that progress must be earned. But what if time itself is not the path, but the illusion? What if change is not something you chase, but something you collapse into the moment your vibration harmonizes with another version of yourself? Here's the paradox. You never see the jump while it happens. You only notice the echo of your old self fading into the background. And this is why your mind resists it. The ego craves control, demands logic, wants evidence that fits neatly into cause and effect. But the quantum field plays by different rules. It does not move linearly. It does not obey past, present, or future. It responds to coherence, to alignment, to vibration. When your inner frequency no longer matches the world around you, reality does not argue. It reshapes itself. And here's the truly startling part. You didn't consciously orchestrate it. Science now reveals that memory is not a playback of the past. It reconstructs reality anew each time. Your sense of self is already fluid, already unstable, already quantum. Yet we cling to identities written in stories that have long expired. You tell yourself, "This is who I am." But that self has already moved on, leaving traces behind. Quantum jumps are not always fireworks or sudden revelations. Sometimes they are subtle, silent shifts. The coffee tastes a little different. A room vibrates with a strange resonance. A stranger feels uncannily familiar, as if you've already lived the version of yourself who has. Have you ever felt out of sync with your surroundings, even though nothing external changed? That discomfort is not confusion. It is the echo of a self no longer aligned with your current frequency. That dissonance is your invitation. The door has already opened. The jump is already in motion. And now a question: if quantum jumps can occur without intent, could you learn to trigger them deliberately? Let that question linger. To grasp it, we first need to let go of the notion that you are a single, linear self moving steadily through time. That is the old paradigm. Cause leads to effect, step A leads to step B. But you are not a machine. You are not merely a body that emits energy. You are energy that inhabits a body for a while. You are awareness focused in a frequency band, and that frequency can shift. When it does, your perception shifts with it. Not because the world changed, but because you tuned into another version of it. Neville Goddard spoke of this long before science caught up. Transformation begins not with effort, but with the shift in thought itself. Your mind cannot conceive new patterns without new ideas. And where do these ideas come from? From accessing the version of you that already lives them. So the question is not whether you can quantum jump. The real question is, are you noticing when you already have? Think of a moment in your life when everything changed, yet no reason was apparent. Maybe your passion for something suddenly faded, or a door closed without explanation. That, my friend, was the quiet work of the quantum. Perhaps a relationship dissolved overnight, or an opportunity appeared from nowhere. These moments are not random. They are signposts of a timeline shift, subtle echoes of the jump your being has already made. There is a secret hidden in plain sight. When you outgrow a vibration, life adjusts with you, or it crumbles around you. This is not failure. It is recalibration. It is the quantum field making space for the next iteration of yourself. Most people fail to recognize these jumps because their identity is still anchored in the past frequency. Your energy has shifted, your body has moved, but your story lags behind. You keep playing old roles in a new reality and wonder why everything feels heavier. It is like trying to dance to a song you no longer hear. Struggle and disorientation emerge naturally when you navigate a fresh map with the eyes of an old self. What if all the tension you feel right now, the unease, the confusion, the cracks in your sense of self, is not loss but recalibration? You are not broken. You are being rewritten. You do not need to fix your life. You need to remember who you have already become. In the coming moments, you will see the deeper mechanics of this shift. You are not attracting your future. You are tuning into it. The field responds not to your wishes, but to your internal state. The old model of chasing, scripting, visualizing, and waiting is outdated. In the quantum realm, the future does not arrive. You step into it. You collapse into the reality where your desire already exists, aligning your frequency with it. That is the essence of the true quantum jump. Here is the mind-bending truth. Every possibility already exists. Not as a potential, not as a dream, but as a fully formed timeline with its own version of you living within it. Your dream life is not waiting to be created. It is already occurring, just in a frequency you have yet to inhabit. Physics calls this the many worlds interpretation. Every choice collapses the probability wave into one path, yet the other versions continue to exist. In spiritual terms, every version of you, the healed, the awakened, the abundant, the struggling, you have already lived them all. You are navigating through realities, not creating them. Your navigation tool is your state of being. Neville Goddard said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not imagine it, not hope for it, assume it, embody it." Your inner state selects the timeline. Think of yourself as a radio, constantly transmitting and receiving frequency. The station you tune into does not care about your desires. It reflects what you are. You may call for abundance, love, or freedom, yet if your signal resonates with fear, lack, or unworthiness, the field aligns with that. Not to punish you, but because it mirrors your coherence. So how do you quantum jump? You shift your station, not by effort, not by struggle, but by a vibrational choice. It begins when you stop identifying with the version of yourself that chases, questions, and waits. That version is always behind, always missing the signal, always living in the echo of scarcity. Quantum jumping is not about becoming, it is about remembering. You do not become the healed self. You recall the feeling of wholeness and act from it. You do not attract wealth. You step into the posture, energy, and awareness of the self who already lives in freedom. The field responds instantly, not because the world changes, but because the observer shifts. Wanting is lack in disguise. Hoping is waiting masquerading as faith. True manifestation is not about desire, it is about memory. Every cell in your body carries a memory of the version of you that already exists in another timeline. That's why so many people stay trapped in the loop of trying. They visualize from the identity they currently inhabit, hoping to pull a better reality toward them. But the field does not respond to hope. It responds to signal, and vibration never lies. Let's break the illusion here. You think you need to do more, but what you actually need is to become less attached to who you think you are. The current you, the one listening now, is not truly you. It is a mosaic of habits, stories, emotions, and neural patterns, a character written into a script, and that script holds you within a narrow frequency. So when you attempt to manifest something extraordinary, the script trembles, the jump falters. Why? Because the self that wants it is not the self that lives it. You cannot manifest a new world using the emotional vocabulary of your old one. You cannot step into abundance while still humming with the frequency of survival. You cannot find love while anchored in self-abandonment. And you cannot shift timelines while waiting for permission to begin. Your next reality isn't ahead of you. It's already here, resonating in another octave. Imagine walking through a long corridor filled with 100 doors. Behind each door lives a version of you. One door opens to heartbreak, another to deep connection. One holds struggle, another serenity. The key to each door is not effort or time. It is emotion. your current frequency. Each moment you shift your state of being, even subtly, you are turning the knob of a new doorway. At first, the room feels the same, but stay long enough and you notice the atmosphere changing, the faces, the outcomes, even the colors of life itself. Because reality is not fixed. It bends, breathes, and rearranges itself in rhythm with your vibration. But do not be deceived. The quantum field is exact. It does not respond to empty affirmations or ungrounded words. It listens for coherence, for when your thoughts, emotions, actions, and identity all vibrate in harmony. That alignment is the true language of creation. Here's the next revelation. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you accept yourself to be. Let that truth settle into your body. The moment you decide, not hope, not wish, but fully decide, to embody the version of yourself who already lives your desired reality, the field begins to rearrange itself around you. People will leave. Others will appear. Paths will close and open. This isn't chaos. It's recalibration. This is not magic. It's mechanics. Quantum mechanics. The degree to which you stabilize that new identity determines how quickly the external world mirrors it back. You don't need to wait. You don't need to plead. You don't even need to be flawless. You simply need to choose, vibrationally fully. Because the instant you do, the jump stops being a possibility. It becomes inevitable. And in the next unfolding, we will bridge the invisible with the physical, the inner transformation with the outer collapse of particles, to reveal one astonishing truth. You are the observer, and the world is your mirror. Reality does not happen to you. It happens through you. Every moment you breathe, you are the quiet cause behind the collapse of the universe you see. What you call the outside world is not fixed, not solid, not even fully there until it is observed. And this isn't poetic language, it's physics. At the center of creation lives one of the most mysterious forces ever studied, the observer effect. Let's revisit a cornerstone of modern physics, the double-slit experiment. When electrons are fired toward a barrier with two openings, they behave like waves, creating a fluid interference pattern as if they pass through both slits at once. But the moment a measuring device watches them, everything changes. The wave collapses, the electrons behave like particles, choosing a single path. Observation itself changes the result. Pause here. Let that truth sink in. The smallest building blocks of your reality exist not as things, but as potentials. Clouds of possibility waiting for awareness to give them shape. And what collapses them into form? Conscious attention, which means reality is not revealed by observation. It is created by it. This principle doesn't stop in laboratories. It's happening inside your life every second. Each belief you hold, each emotional expectation, is not just predicting what will occur, it is influencing what can. Thought infused with emotion becomes frequency, and that frequency determines which version of reality crystallizes around you. Most people misunderstand this. They think, if I just think positive thoughts, I'll attract a better life. But the power doesn't lie in the thought itself. It lies in the state that thought is born from. This is where consciousness meets biology. Every thought sparks an electrical current in the brain. Every emotion releases chemistry through the body. Together, they form an electromagnetic signature, a pattern of coherence that imprints your vibration into the quantum field. Coherence doesn't happen by chance. It is a deliberate act of awareness. And here's the revelation. Your brain is not hardwired. It is rewiring itself with every new state you enter. Each time you choose differently, neural pathways shift, old patterns collapse, and new ones begin to form. Scientists call this neuroplasticity and synaptic pruning. But in the language of transformation, we call it identity death, the unraveling of who you've been so that something new can emerge. The person you call me is a network of circuits and memories, repeating emotional patterns until they become your personality, and eventually your personal reality. Every time you feel unworthy or spiral into fear, you are simply replaying the same loop of electricity. But when you interrupt it even once, the loop collapses. The structure loses power. In that stillness, a new timeline opens. Think of your identity as scaffolding made of wires. Your attention is the current, Your emotions are the voltage. The more energy you feed a pattern, the stronger it grows. But when you withdraw attention, when you stop charging the emotions of your old self, the scaffolding begins to dissolve. That moment of disintegration is sacred. It is both neurological and quantum. You are the wave, limitless potential, and the particle, the crystallized form of it. But you are not trapped in either. You are the conscious selector, the one who chooses through coherence. And yet there's a subtle trap waiting ahead. Many believe that coherence means simply staying high vibe. But that's not the full truth. Coherence isn't about pretending to be happy. It isn't about ignoring your pain or forcing yourself into false light. Real coherence is the alignment between what you feel, what you believe, and what you intend. When grief rises and you let it be felt without shame, you are in coherence. When anger burns and you let it move through you instead of hiding it, you are still in coherence. It's not emotion that breaks the field, it's resistance. That's why transformation isn't a quest for perfection. It's an act of permission. Permission to feel, permission to fall apart, permission to rebuild. Studies by Dr. Joe Dispenza show that when people enter heart-brain coherence, their electromagnetic field expands, DNA expression shifts, the immune system strengthens, and brainwaves blend into a theta-gamma rhythm, the bridge between the subconscious and the quantum field. In that state, imagination and physical reality begin to merge. You're no longer visualizing a new reality. You're tuning into it. So what does this mean in practice? It means the fastest way to jump timelines isn't by doing more. It's by being differently. Every time you observe your thoughts without judgment, you reclaim authorship. Every time you settle into stillness and emotional clarity, you transmit a clearer signal to the field, and the field, precise and responsive, mirrors that upgraded data back to you. You don't need to fix the outer world. You only need to change the lens through which you're watching it. Because the observer is the creator, the signal is the selector, and the vibration is the key. Picture the quantum field as a vast lattice of infinite doors. Each door leads to a version of your life. Every emotional shift unlocks a door. Sustain that frequency, and the door opens. Embody the self who lives behind it, and you step through. Your world rearranging to match your new coherence. But the old doors never vanish. They remain open, whispering the pull of familiarity. That's why mastery isn't about jumping once. It's about continuing to walk, holding the frequency moment by moment, choice by choice. Because each time you hesitate, doubt, or slip back into the emotional home of your old self, you re-enter the previous room. Quantum shifting isn't a leap. It's a dance, a rhythmic conversation between your heart, your brain, and the field. The question then isn't how do I shift? It's can I hold the shift long enough for reality to synchronize? Because science already shows that the field responds instantly to internal alignment. But what traps most people is the emotional gravity of their old identity. Unless you dissolve who you believe you are, you'll keep projecting that outdated version into every new frequency you touch. You are not stuck. You are simply too loyal to your past self. And as long as that loyalty remains, the field must echo it back again and again. Not as punishment, but as reflection. Remember this, the quantum field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And being is not defined by affirmations or thoughts. It's shaped by the frequency you normalize, the energy you embody even when no one's watching. So if you still see yourself as the one who struggles, who almost makes it, who's still waiting for breakthrough, then no matter how much meditating or manifesting you do, the field will mirror that identity with flawless precision. Not because you're broken, but because you're consistent. The truth most resist is this. You cannot bring your old self into your new world. You can't carry the emotional signatures of guilt, lack, or unworthiness into a timeline built on sovereignty. Something must die, and that something is the construct you've called me. Not your body, not your soul, but the psychological costume you've mistaken for truth. The persona you've carried, woven from memories, trauma, inherited beliefs, survival habits. The one who knows how to shrink, how to endure, how to stay safe. That version is not your true self. Yet it has been real enough to shape a lifetime. and now it must dissolve. Here's the challenge. You believe that old self is who you are. You have rehearsed it so thoroughly, neurologically, emotionally, socially, that releasing it feels like annihilation. And in many ways it is. Identity collapse feels like death. Your body quivers, your mind resists, your nervous system panics, not because anything is wrong, but because you are stepping beyond the familiar frequency, leaving the comfort of known suffering. This process requires courage, presence, and radical honesty. How do you collapse the old self without being pulled back into its orbit? You begin by telling the truth, not the story, not the excuse, not the spiritual gloss, but the raw, inconvenient truth of what that self has cost you, emotionally, relationally, spiritually. Shine a light on the patterns you have normalized. Feel what it really feels like to inhabit that version. Then, most importantly, decide it is over. Not tomorrow. Not when convenient. Now. That is when the quantum field listens. That is when reality begins to rearrange. Understand this. Identity is a frequency lock. As long as you identify as the struggler, the overthinker, the unlovable, the one who must heal before receiving, you are sending a stable signal. The field reflects it with clockwork precision. But the instant you declare, I am no longer that version, and align your emotions and actions with that declaration, the lock opens. The field recalibrates and reality begins to flow like liquid into new form. Once the old self collapses, a temporary void appears, a space of disorientation, silence, vulnerability. This is the quantum gap, the vibrational hallway between timelines. Most rush to fill it with noise, distraction, or action. But if you can breathe into it, sit with the emptiness, the new self emerges, not through effort, not through striving, but through resonance, embodiment, and presence. You already carry glimpses of it in moments of flow, in the spark your body feels around certain people, in the visions that arrive in stillness. That version is not a fantasy. It is a frequency calling you home. To stabilize it, you speak from it, walk from it, decide from it before evidence arrives. Proof is not what makes the jump real. Proof emerges after you have already leapt. The field responds to coherence, and coherence is when identity, emotion, and behavior all vibrate the same frequency. I am now the one who. This is when timelines collapse, when people exit or enter your life, when synchronicities multiply, when the fabric of your old reality glitches because it no longer recognizes you, and when you feel the temptation to return to the predictable, safe, known self, resist. The unknown you've stepped into is not empty. It is pregnant with the next version of your life. And that life is not built by hustling harder. It is accessed through vibrational alignment. Take a breath. Scan your body for any fragment still clinging to the expired self. Witness it without judgment. And when ready, let your declaration ripple through your being. I collapse my old self. Let it resonate not only as words, but as vibration, echoing across timelines. Sometimes the smallest statement can close a loop that has remained open for lifetimes. The next stage is about navigation, from this space of collapse into the intentional creation of your next self. The old identity has dissolved. Now begins the initiation. Can you hold the frequency of your new reality long enough for the world to reflect it back? Many jump, but then panic in the void. Most people expect the shift to arrive like fireworks, a sudden burst of clarity, instant confirmation, a rush of knowing. But quantum navigation doesn't unfold with spectacle. It's not a sprint. It's not a breakthrough. It's a recalibration. And in that recalibration, the field is listening, not to your words, but to the stability of your signal. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't create new realities. They recreate old memories of reality. Even in their attempts to change, they reference the past, filtering every decision through the emotional architecture of who they used to be. That's why they don't leap, they loop. But you're not here to loop. You're here to navigate. To do that, you need a new compass, one not built from logic or goals, but from vibrational alignment. Timelines aren't destinations you travel to. They are states you stabilize. And when your inner state becomes unwavering, the outer world molds itself around you like clay around a form. So how do you stabilize a state that doesn't yet feel real? Start by accepting that your nervous system will protest. It's wired for familiarity, not expansion. When you begin to embody a version of yourself that feels more powerful, more open, more abundant, your body may resist. You might feel foggy, tired, doubtful. This isn't failure, it's feedback. Feedback that says, we're in unknown territory and we don't yet have proof it's safe. But your body doesn't need proof, it needs presence. When fear rises, don't analyze it, don't fix it. Hold it in coherence, breathe into it, anchor in your heart, return to the frequency of the self you've chosen to become, and act from that space. Because action isn't just movement, it's communication. Every time you act from your future frequency, you send a signal through the quantum field declaring, this is who I am now. The field, being holographic and immediate, reorganizes in response. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this getting beyond the known, not just intellectually, but neurologically and energetically. When you do, creation becomes fluid. Now let's talk tools, not rituals for the sake of habit, but anchors of remembrance. Each one only works when fueled by coherence. 1. Coherent visualization. This isn't daydreaming or idle hoping, it's embodied seeing. Before you visualize, slow your breath, drop into your heart, feel gratitude, not for something specific, but for the act of becoming. Then imagine not just the future scene, but the emotional texture of it. How does that version of you move? Think, breathe, spend an ordinary day, live there even for a few minutes. That's enough to begin rewriting timelines. 2. Scripting from identity. Don't write about what you want. Write as the version of you who already has it. Use I am, not I hope. Describe your life in present tense. Fill every sentence with emotion and sensory detail. Let your nervous system experience it before the physical world catches up. This isn't fiction, it's frequency alignment. 3. Heart-brain coherence. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Inhale for 5 counts, exhale for 5. Feel gratitude rise like a tide. As it builds, your brain shifts into alpha and theta states. The field between mind and body opens. This is where navigation becomes intuitive and the jump begins to stabilize. But even with these tools, the greatest trap remains, waiting for evidence. The moment you ask, where is it? You've slipped back into the old identity. Because that question doesn't come from faith, it comes from fear. And the field doesn't respond to need. It responds to assumption. Your task is not to prove the new self, it's to live it fully, unapologetically, before any proof arrives. That is the test. That is the jump. The longer you hold the signal without demanding confirmation, the faster the external world aligns. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stepped out of the way. Imagine tuning a radio to a specific station. At first, the signal is fuzzy. You adjust the dial, static. You move again. The music fades, then returns. You keep tuning, holding, refining, until suddenly the signal locks. The music becomes clear. That's coherence. That's the frequency of your becoming. That's quantum navigation. The static you feel is doubt, fear, and the echo of your old identity. The clarity is coherence, embodiment, and emotional alignment. And the dial, that's your choice, moment by moment, of who you are becoming. Ask yourself, what frequency have you been tuned to unconsciously? And which frequency will you now choose to embody consciously? When you start acting from your future self instead of reacting from your past, the world responds differently. The right people appear, synchronicities multiply, obstacles dissolve. Not because you manipulate reality, but because you have shifted vibration, and matter always follows frequency. You don't need to chase your new life. You only need to stabilize as the version of yourself who already lives it. You are not behind, you are not broken. You are simply stepping into coherence for the first time in lifetimes. There's already a version of you breathing in another timeline. Not hoping, not striving, not healing, but radiating the life you once thought impossible. That version is not years away. It's one vibrational decision away. You've collapsed the old identity, tuned into the field, and stabilized your signal. Now comes the most sacred act: trust. Not blind hope, but embodied trust. The kind that walks as if it already arrived, speaks as if it already knows, and breathes as if the future is happening now. Because it is. In the quantum field, all realities exist simultaneously. Time is not linear, it is layered. Every healed, abundant, and liberated version of you is already here, waiting to be accessed by the force that creates reality, your coherence. This isn't about pretending. You don't need to act worthy or force yourself to feel ready. You only need to become familiar with the frequency of your future self until it becomes your baseline. When you cross that threshold, life transforms, not just in outcomes, but in texture. You feel the quantum nature of existence. Time stretches and collapses. You are guided instead of lost. You are nudged instead of pushed. Opportunities arrive as confirmations, not surprises. Because when you align with the self who already lives the life aligns with you. There is no effort in this. There is only awareness. No convincing, only choosing. You no longer chase signs. You embody the signal. You no longer try to be worthy. You remember that you always were. This is not just personal transformation. Every time you quantum jump, you ripple outward. You collapse old collective patterns and transmit permission to others, silently reminding them they too can choose differently. You are living proof that shifting is possible. You are not just changing your life, you are influencing timelines for everyone connected to your field, seen and unseen. So when fear whispers, "What if it doesn't work?" answer with, "What if it already has?" When the old self tries to return, watch it dissolve with compassion. Smile, acknowledge it, but don't pick it back up. Becoming is remembering. You are not building something new from scratch. You are aligning with a version of yourself that already knows the way. This journey doesn't end here. You've unraveled the old, tuned into the quantum field, and stabilized your next self. Now it's time to embody that frequency. Hold it, breathe it, move from it. This is the initiation. Can you stay in the frequency of your new reality long enough for the world to reflect it back? Most people jump and then panic in the void. They expect fireworks, instant clarity, instant confirmation. But quantum navigation is subtle. It is not a sprint, not a breakthrough. It is a recalibration. The field listens not to your words, but to the stability of your signal. Your nervous system may protest. Your body may panic. Resistance, doubt, fatigue, they are not failure. They are feedback. Feedback tells you you are stepping into unknown circuitry. Presence, not proof, is your guide. When fear or doubt arises, don't fight it. Hold it in coherence. Breathe into it. Anchor in your heart. Return to the frequency of the self you have chosen to be. Act from that space. Action from your future self sends a broadcast through the quantum field. This is who I am now. The field reorganizes. Reality responds. Practical tools help anchor this signal. Coherent visualization, identity scripting, heart-brain alignment. But none of them work unless they are grounded in coherence. Visualize from the state of the self who already lives the life. Script in present tense with emotion and texture. Feel your heartbeat, tune into gratitude, and let your nervous system embody the frequency before the 3D catches up. The biggest trap is waiting for evidence. Doubt collapses the signal. Faith is not hoping, it is assumption. Live your new self fully, unapologetically, before results appear. That is the jump. Hold the frequency without needing proof, and the external world aligns naturally. Imagine tuning a radio. Static is doubt, fear, and identity collapse. The music is clarity, embodiment, and coherence. The dial is your moment-by-moment choice. Adjust, hold, lock in the frequency. This is quantum navigation. Ask yourself again, what station have you been tuned to? And which one will you choose from now on? Because when you choose from the future, rather than react from the past, everything changes. People arrive, synchronicities accelerate, obstacles fade. You are not broken, you are not behind. You are simply becoming coherent. For the first time in lifetimes, you are remembering the shift is not coming, it is already here. A version of you is living it right now, not hoping, not striving, just embodying. You are one vibrational decision away. You've collapsed the old identity, tuned into the field, stabilized your signal. Now comes trust, active, embodied trust. Walk it, speak it, breathe it. This is quantum reality. Time is layered, all outcomes exist now. Every healed, abundant, liberated version of you waits for your coherence to collapse it into form. Familiarize yourself with it, step into it, become it. And in doing so, not only do you shift your life, you ripple across timelines, inspiring others through your very being. You are not just navigating reality. You are holding the frequency. You are the signal. You are already home.